The Tale of McLovin, Thy Medieval Bum. Now thou knows what thee is most likely pondering of. Why is this guy flowing on water? Who even is this guy? Why isn't his mouth moving? And thou could tell thee about thy's life story and how thy has a lazy animator who won't make their mouth talk. But instead, I'm going to tell it to you through a song. And Western Stryer birthed and grown on the playing grounds where I spent most of thy days. But one day when a couple of hoodlums who were up to no act of sainthood caused a mere squabble, and this feared my mother, so she exclaimed, "Hey, McLovin, what's happening? You're really terrible at this rapping thing, I'm gonna be honest. And my ears are literally bleeding, so if you could just stop, that would be greatly appreciated." So apparently, thy cannot rap. So instead, thy will recall upon themselves and tell thou thy's origin story, and that thy's name is McLovin Smithson the Fourth. And apparently, that's how you spell it, but I wouldn't know, because I don't know how to read. And if it was not obvious by thy's last name, thy comes from a long line of Smiths, and thy is expected to be the fifth Smith. But thy wants to break the mold, and thy does not want profession. Thy's family refers to thy as a bum, but thy is not deterred, because as thy has always said, if thy day ends with thy why, thy shall not trieth. To say that thy is a bum is a tad bit of an understatement, as thy once possessed a job as a horse cleaner, but was terminated from employment due to bogus reasons. Greetings, Sire Paul. How is thou feeling on thy most magnificent of days? Thou is feeling good. Thank you for asking, McLovin. Did thou pay for thy towel? No, sire. Is that an issue? Unfortunately, yes. That is 2 shekels worth of lost profit. Well, sire, how's thou meant to do a job without a rag? Thou must figure it out, but unfortunately thou must terminate thou. You are fired. Do not talk to John on your way out either. Thy's father was furious of thy's termination, so thou's father decided to take matters into thou's own hands. Thy is tired of thou's nonsense, and thy is kicking thou out of house, because thy will not allow thou to drag down thy's family name along with thou. Thy has already packed thou stuff for thou. Hey son, thy loves thou. Thy's future was uncertain, and thy was headed down a dark path, and thy made a series of unfortunate decisions. Greetings, is thou feeling of thy adequate condition? No. Oh, thou is sorry to hear that. Would thou like to come inside for a good time? I guess. Thy experience that thy is currently partaking in is really enjoyable. Oh yeah? Well, thou should try this. What does it do? Thy will be flying, but who made it? What was it made out of? Thy potion was made out of dimethylnitrite, wood sap, mushrooms, and dragon's breath. And Heisenberg made it. It's top quality. Okay. Gluk, gluk, gluk. This thing empty. Yeet. Woo! I feel great. Give a homeboy a high five. I'm gonna head out and go to the festival. McLovin, no! You might do something you might regret. Oh, I guess he's leaving. Nothing we can do to stop him. Nee! I am a bird! Man, just leave it to McLovin to ruin everything for us. Yeah, I know. Somebody should call the guards and get him arrested. Hear ye, hear ye. Thy shall rise for thy honorable magistrate, Jimston. Thou may be seated. On the charges of being a public nuisance, thy finds thou guilty. And typically, thy would chop off thou's hands as punishment, but since we're stick figures, that's not going to happen. So instead, thy is going to sentence thou to hard labor until thou can learn some work ethic and life morals. Hello, is thy the new guy? Indeed thy is. Thy needs community service hours for thy's parole. So thy comes here. Who art thou? Who is that rock? The people's farmer? The great one? Most importantly, the most electrifying man in all of wheat farming. Man, that sounds interesting and all, and thy will definitely help thou. But unfortunately thy day ends with thy why, so thy is just gonna sit here and just watch thou. Listen here, you jabroni. Here's a piece of advice. That is not the work ethic thy needs to keep in life if thy wants to succeed in thy life. Instead, thy must remember that it's about drive, it's about power. You stay hungry, you devour. You gotta put in the work, you gotta put in the hours, and take what's yours. Okay, whatever you say, old man. Is that what thy jabroni thinks of thy rock? Well, thou must know that thy must know thy's role and shut thy's mouth. And if thy wants to fight, just bring it. Okay. And fight. One, two, three. Ding, ding, ding. Good morning, McLovin. Does thou know where thou crop went? Good morning to you as well, and yes, sir, I actually think thou would be quite proud of thy, because thou thought long and hard about what thou said, and thou was right. Thou will not get very far in life with that work ethic, so thou woke up extra early this morning and tilled this entire field. Why would you till a field in the middle of October? You probably just killed 500 people with this mistake. It is harvest time. Tilling is for the beginning of the year. Thy is sorry, as thy had no idea. I hope thou was serious about thy's work ethic, because now we have to speedrun an entire year's worth of work in 1 week. I guess I gotta teach you about being a real farmer now, too. Apparently you know nothing. Thou forgot to say that in a medieval accent, sire. McLovin, shut up. Now is not the time. I'm not re-recording that. I'm mad at you right now. Now let's get to work. Well, McLovin, I guess we're finished. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't actually think you'd pull through like this. I didn't think we were gonna be able to do it in a week. But evidently we did. So I'm gonna put in a good word with the magistrate. I guess we're done for now. I don't have to see you again and you're off to freedom. What do you mean I'm done working for you? Shouldn't we grain the wheat or something? I mean, it seems like there's much left to do. No, McLovin, that's not our job. The baker grains the wheat. You're done. You don't have to do any work no more. We should celebrate then if the job's done. You want to make some bread? No, McLovin, we can't make bread. We can't use our own wheat because that'd be lost profit. And I'm really petty and I'm really greedy with my money like that. I guess if we're done with this job for now, I gotta go and fix some amends. Well, McLovin, before you leave, Thad just wants to say that I guess it was nice knowing you. What is thou talking about? Thou will be back from the next harvest. Thou wasn't keen about learning work ethic. Just because Thou isn't on parole anymore doesn't mean that Thou doesn't want to work anymore. I'll see you for the next harvest. Well, hey son, Thou hasn't seen Thou in a while. What a pleasant surprise. Thou is looking pretty healthy. What brings Thou the visit? Greetings, Father. Thou has paid Thou thy visit to let Thou know that Thou is doing pretty well for Thou himself, and Thou actually has a job. So Thou is no longer a bum, rather, Thou is thy wheat farmer. That is good news to hear. Thou would like to welcome Thou back home, if Thou would like to move back into thy house. Thou appreciates Thou's offer, But unfortunately, thy already has a house near the wheat farm, and thy needs to stay near the wheat farm, as thy harvest is coming near. Well, son, as long as thou remains a non-bum, thou is always welcome back home, and thy just wants thou to know that thy is proud of thou, and thy loves thou. Thank you, Father. That means a lot to thy. But unfortunately, thy has to leave, and thy story must end.